usual, I've pulled together a team of experts to help us make the decisions on how we're going to go with appliances and lighting in the home. So what I'd like to do is introduce the team I have together. Again, I have David Brookshire with Brookshire Homes. He's the general contractor for my home. Have Kevin Hanna. Kevin is the president of LED USA. And it just so happens they're a new strategic partner with Touchstone Energy, and it's an outlet through which our members can go and get very high quality, low cost LED lighting fixtures. And we also have with us Aislinn. She's with Metro Appliance, and Aislinn's going to work our way through that tangled web of how Yvonne and I are actually going to be trying to pick out the appliances and things that we have. Now, let's start this discussion very clear. I have absolutely no decision of what lighting fixtures or what appliances we're putting in the home. All you guys are going to help me do is kind of steer Miss Yvonne to some energy efficiency items, because that's off limits for me, and that was given to me from the start. Another thing I want to point out is that Touchstone Energy actually has no specification in our new spec for lighting or appliances. Okay, but what we do have is, if you remember, we do have the component that's tied to the HERS rating. And so one of the things as we go through this, I may be asking you guys some questions on how it starts to affect the HERS rating and other things. Now, with that, Kevin, let's just jump right into the LED lighting side of this. Tell me what we need to explain to Yvonne as she goes shopping for fixtures that we know. We're trying to go all LED in this house if we can afford it. What does she need to know when she's going and looking for fixtures?
Okay, well, the good thing is that LEDs are available in really any type of base application that's a standard base application now. So if you have a medium base lamp fixture, you can use an LED in it. If you have a candelabra base fixture, you can use an LED in it now. It used to be that you had to buy a dedicated LED fixture, and it's just not that way anymore. So the good news is that they're inexpensive, so you can definitely afford it. In fact, you'll save money over the long run by buying LED bulbs. And so you can pick out any off-the-shelf fixture, use that fixture like you would any, use that fixture and just use any type of LED lighting that you want to use in there. So you can use a medium base fixture with a medium base LED light bulb. So this is a good example right here. This is a medium base LED light bulb. It looks just like an A19 light bulb, works just like an A19 light bulb. They can dim. You have a wider range of color options in them than you would with a standard incandescent bulb. And the same goes with the candelabra based bulbs. And in addition to that, you have a lot of retrofit options, and this is a good example of one where if you have a downlight, you can actually buy a complete downlight package that has the trim package on it, and it has the LED integrated inside of it, and so it's essentially just a light bulb because it has a base on it that will screw in. So Mark, my best advice to anybody buying a light fixture for a home, it's a new light fixture and they're wanting to use LEDs, is to really just focus on trying to find an off-the-shelf light fixture with a standard base option in it. And that can be a medium base, it can be a candelabra base. And with that light fixture, you're going to have all the options you would ever want with an LED light bulb, and a lot more options than you would ever have with an incandescent or a CFL lamp, both in terms of color and dimming options.
Okay.
Well, I got a question for you. As a home builder building new construction, this could be a retrofit, I see that,
Yeah.
but as a home builder, this is an extra connection that I don't see that's worth anything to me. It's another spot that could be a problem. Can we unplug this, since this is recyclable light, when it's time to replace it? Can I unplug this, or the homeowner unplug it, and then just plug in the new light and then put it back into the socket where it goes?
Yes, you can, and it would just mean that you would clip your wires here, take your base off, and hardwire it into a standard J-box enclosure. So definitely you can do that.
Okay, that's my only question, because I'll look for other areas in the homes that, you know, could cause problems down the line for my customers.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal right there. I like that.
Now, Kevin, having used both of these in my existing homes and those things before, my gut tells me I'd like to go LED. There's certain features I like about that. I don't understand everything that goes with it, but really the whole deal is what can I afford? Before we get to that here in just a couple of minutes, I need you to help me understand what are the real differences between CFLs and LEDs.
Mechanically, the difference between a CFL and an LED is a CFL is a fluorescent tube. It's a vacuum sealed lighting source. It's got two cathodes. It sparks a gas inside there and makes light just like a fluorescent tube in an office building. They typically take a while to warm up and come on. The cathodes can fail, they can break. An LED is a solid state lighting source. So the LED has a small chip. It has an anode and a cathode. They put a charge to it, it makes light. There's nothing to break on an LED. Most of the lenses on LEDs are plastic. So they're very durable, and you don't have the failure issues that you'll have with the CFL. Even if a CFL is rated at 10,000 hours, the chances of getting that 10,000 hours are not nearly as good as getting the life out of the life that an LED is rated at.
Okay, you bring up an interesting point. I want to explore that. You see a lot of stuff about the rating of lights. CFLs have rated. I have to admit I was a little disappointed in some of the CFLs that I got didn't reach their life expectancy. Am I going to, I mean, again, if I'm evaluating this bulb and it costs me more money and I'm looking over a longer period of time, do I have to worry about that with LEDs?
LEDs are the longest life light source in the market. There's never been a light like an LED. Traditional incandescent lamps have filaments that fail. CFL lamps, like you're talking about, have cathodes. They have gas inside. They get hot. They have base up applications that cause them to fail. There's a variety of things that cause CFLs to fail that won't cause an LED to fail. And another important thing to know about an LED is they're rated differently than CFLs or incandescents. Both incandescents, CFLs, and fluorescents, all those lamps are rated on failure ratios. So if you're getting a lamp that's rated at 10,000 hours, that means that 49% of those lamps did not make it to 10,000 hours. Now, 51% of them did, so they give it a 10,000 hour rating. An LED is rated on lumen depreciation. So if an LED lamp is rated at 25,000 hours, that means that at the end of that 25,000 hours, you should still have a working lamp, and you would have lost 30% of your initial lumens. So that means you retain 70% of your original light, which is a phenomenal thing in lighting. There's never been another light source like that in terms of reliability and just the fact that you still have a working light even at the end of the light.
I mean, that's pretty important. If you just saw the lighting fixtures my wife picked out, and considering that we have this cathedral ceiling and I'm going to have to crawl up there and change them,
Yeah.
I'm figuring if this 20-year stuff's right, I won't ever have to do that. I'll be dead before that.
Well, so now, but
Well, actually, okay, well, you know, we talked about light fixtures. What about brightness? One of the things I noticed on CFLs is some of them kind of start to come up. Do I have to worry about that with LEDs?
yeah, LEDs are instant on. You turn an LED on. Some of them have just a self check on the power supply, but they come on instantly. When they come on, they're at full light. They can be dimmed. A lot of CFLs can't be dimmed. Almost every LED that you buy is available in some type of dimming version. So, and no, you won't have that warrant period like you have with the CFL.
Okay, well, what about disposal? Some of the times on the CFLs, if I'm not mistaken, is it mercury that's in the bulb that
That's
I needed
right.
to be concerned about? I mean, I know our co-ops had disposal sites. What do I have to be worried about with an LED?
There's no disposal issues at all with an LED. In fact, an LED is a completely recyclable lamp. They're going to have aluminum inside of them. They're going to have plastic inside of them. Everything in an LED has some type of value in terms of recycling. And there's no mercury, so no environmental issues.
Pretty cool. Sounds like maybe there's something instead of a mercury disposal site that maybe the co-op ought to have a spot where the bulbs could be brought back to recycle.
That's right.
I like that concept. Kevin, you know, one of the things that we saw with the CFLs is they started out relatively high priced and they started to fall off. Are we going to see something comparable to that with LED?
Yes, you're already seeing LEDs drop substantially in the market. LEDs have hit a price mark now where it is really a no-brainer to go with LEDs, and they'll continue to drop over the next few years.
Okay, Dave, it's just too bad. My house is going to be ready in 30 days. I'm going to need some bulbs. Man. If I could wait 6 months, maybe I'd save some money. Okay, one other question. You know, looking off the shelf or on your website as far as that goes, man, the choices are unbelievable.
Yeah.
How do I make a good, rational decision? Is there anything on the box? How can it help me understand this is a good bulb, this isn't a good bulb? I mean, there's a lot of choices when you go to Lowe's.
That's right. Well, so the first things first is to figure out what your application is. Do you have a floodlight application, or an A-shaped application, a decorative application? And then come back and look and see what your options are. On our website, they're pretty well grouped by the types of lamps that they are. Once you've done that, there is a label on almost all the lighting on websites and on boxes that it's called lighting facts, and it gives you the information, really the base information you need to buy a lamp. So for example, it gives you your life duration, your estimated yearly energy cost, it gives you your light appearance or your color of your light. So your basic information is already listed on that, and that's a really good way to just get a good snapshot.
But is there any certification? I understand there's this LM80 rating or whatever. What are these that help me understand I've got a really good bulb?
For residential applications, Energy Star is going to be your primary rating that you're going to want to look for. So if you really want to just make sure that you don't have any issues with the light that you buy, just look for the Energy Star logo.
Okay.
And that's a federal program that mandates that the lighting adheres to certain specifications.
Okay. David, when we look at this, I mean, we got LED lightings, you're a home builder, you're building, the reason we chose you, you build energy efficient homes. And this is gonna jump just a little bit. What effect does LEDs and appliances and some of these decisions that we're making have on the HERS rating?
The HERS rating in doing the house that I'm building for you, we need to be under 49 points. These lights will put us down between 3 and 5 points, and that helps the rating tremendously to keep it down below 49 or under. So it's a no-brainer to put them in there. They're very energy efficient, and that's what I'm trying to build to save you energy costs. So I like them.
So between the appliances and these lightings, you're saying it's about 3 to 5 points?
3 to 5 points.
And it may not seem like a lot, but it could make a big difference of whether or not I'm silver or I'm gold.
That's right.
Or something
and
in that
we're
range.
shooting for the gold, so that's why we're putting all this
Yeah,
in.
100% LED that goes with it.
Yes.
So very cool. Excellent. Okay, guys, let's switch gears and turn to appliances. Aislinn, Yvonne's sitting out there. She's polishing the bid. I'm sure she's looking at this stuff, and you're just ready to go down there and put that sale on her. But before you go, what do I need to tell her as we're starting to look at this? Is what does she need to be looking for to consider some energy efficiency stuff as she makes her choices?
Well, not all appliances are Energy Star, so the ones that are matter. Ovens are not. Refrigerators, dishwashers, and now vent hoods are. So the more energy efficient appliances that you can purchase, the better off you're going to be.
Is that structured because it's devices that use a lot more energy on an annual basis? They've decided
Correct.
to say these have to hit a certain criteria?
Absolutely. And the majority of appliances that cause the heat from heating elements like ovens, microwaves, and dryers are not eligible at this time to be rated. That may change, but it may not.
Okay, so she's starting to look for what does that guide look like?
So I actually have an example right here. This is one that we pulled off the dishwasher that you're purchasing. And so it's generally going to be in a bright yellow when you see it inside the appliance, and it'll come with every appliance that is eligible. And it's just going to show your energy guide based on electricity use or gas usage. And this is your average for similar models. So you have a high end and a low end. And some that are new at this time will actually not show a cost average, but they'll show you where that particular appliance is, so you'll still have a guide to go off of.
Okay, I think the thing that's interesting and important to note, that's based off of current energy cost for a region, correct?
Correct.
So if I'm not mistaken, in this area, it's probably around 12.4 cents is
That's
the national
exactly
average.
right. And let's pull up the one that does have your cost average. Is right down here, it'll tell you what it's based off of, and that's a cost of 12 cents per kilowatt hour.
The thing I think it's important to note, and I'll need to tell Yvonne again, I mean, with just all the things that are happening with carbon, we could see a significant increase in that cost. So these dollars that you're investing are going to be actually much greater than that over the life of the unit. Okay,
Yep,
excellent.
and it will go over the models as well here, so you'll know that these models will fall into this range if you were interested in changing, upgrading, or downgrading.
Okay. Well, what other things do you guys recommend? I mean, obviously you've got a lot of choices, a lot of manufacturers. Should she dig deeper? I mean, you got to watch Yvonne. She's a consumer reports freak. Now, I'm just telling you.
Well, these are going to be your best guides because they're the government standards. So these are going to be the best as far as taking our assumptions out of the equation. After that, looking at consumer reports is a great thing because it's going to give you some life expectancies of the appliances and some other information that you can use as a guide to determine what features and benefits you want. And you can see multiple brands in one setting versus going to one website and pulling up another website and having to go back and forth.
Okay. So they've kind of compiled all that information that you can
Correct.
take a look at. And I'm sure that probably assists you when people come in and they know what features they're looking for and those
It
sort of
does.
things when you kind of steer them in the right direction. One of the things that Yvonne's already been starting to talk around the house as she's been doing some research and stuff, she's talking about induction and convection. I really don't understand a lot of what that entails, but my question is, does that have any impact on energy efficiency?
It can, because it can determine how long you're actually using the appliance. When you have the opportunity to cook some things faster, you're using less electricity because your items are done quicker. So when you're talking about convection, those appliances will allow you to cook up to 30% faster when you're cooking over an hour. When you're doing refrigerated cookie dough, which is something a lot of folks do pretty often, and they give you that 8 to 10 minute time frame, when you're using convection, your items are generally done in the shorter time frame and you're cooking at 25 degrees lower. So you have added savings. When you're cooking a turkey for the holidays, that equates to a 4-hour turkey taking 3 hours because you're saving about 30% over an hour. So you'll be able to continue to cook in one single oven. You can do multiple things, as well as in a convection oven, you're moving heat around a fan that rotates. So when you're moving that air, you are getting a more even cooking cavity. So you don't have to waste time turning, opening, repositioning. All of that's going to be done for you in a convection oven, which really speeds up your cooking process and allows you to continue cooking.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, kind of obviously I work in the electric utility industry, do a lot of rate design. What we're starting to see is a trend that during certain intervals of time that electricity would be much higher. And it's basically a signal to get you to not use energy during that time. What I find interesting about what you're saying is that I could literally, even if I needed to cook something, I can get it done so quick that I'll save money even during those periods of time. So that
Absolutely. If you got kids coming home, you've got to feed them. We can't always wait till after 7 to start dinner.
Exactly.
So allowing yourself to start cooking and to finish quicker, you're using less energy, less time, and even at the more expensive rates, you're not having to go as long.
Exactly. That's great. We also hear a lot about energy vampires and some of those sort of things. Is that anything I need to be concerned about when I'm looking at appliances? I know it's rated, but are there some that have a lot of extra things that can be that vampire type item that's on all the time?
So generally, everything is going to have a minimum requirement standard when we're talking about refrigerators. There are some appliances, however, that don't have anything when you're talking about some small under-counter pieces or some manual defrost pieces that won't qualify at all. So of those things, you do want to try to see if you can get something with LED lights versus regular lighting, because in some of those refrigerators, freezers, and under-counter beverage centers, those things will matter over time. So there are definitely going to be things that are going to defrost more often or less often, and that's going to mean that you're using more energy.
Okay. So like the wine cooler that we're setting, refrigerator, I noticed Yvonne had said she wanted to make sure she got one that had LED bulbs. That makes sense.
You
Okay.
can also get one that has a digital setting versus a knob setting, so you're at a more accurate temperature and you're not fluctuating as often. Another point to your vampire question is, right now there are appliances that are not Energy Star certified that can help you cut down on usage, and one of those is your cooktop. A regular electric cooktop versus now an induction cooktop, and induction cooktops can save you time. There's no wasted heat because they are only going to heat up the pan, so you're not heating up your kitchen during the summer, which causes your air conditioner to cut back on, and you're cooking quicker. Again, you're not wasting any time. You're coming up to a boil and going back down to a simmer within seconds versus waiting for those radiant and halogen elements to come back down to temperature.
And from what I understand about it, it's a big safety issue as well for little kids putting their hands on there, that basically
Absolutely.
as soon as there's just nothing there.
No residual heat on the glass at all.
That's very neat. Okay, guys, it's my favorite part, and it's David's as well, since he has me on a tight budget on this home. It is time for Show Me the Money. And now, Kevin, I'm going to have to be candid with you. I don't know how many bulbs total we have in this house, but it's a lot. And you're going to have to help me understand how I can spend $10 for all of those versus going and putting $1 incandescent bulb in there, and you're going to have to show me something here. So lead into that and help me understand how I'm still making a wise investment doing that.
Well, the first thing I would say, Mark, is that really look at the life of the lamp and the amount of money you're going to save over the life of the lamp. So a good example would be to look at a 10-watt LED lamp versus a 14-watt CFL or 60-watt incandescent. And just to give you some idea on numbers, over the life of the lamp on an LED lamp, you're going to save roughly $160 over the life of the lamp in electrical cost. On a CFL, you're going to save roughly $59.80 over the life of the lamp.
But what are you basing that on, Kevin?
That's
I
based
mean,
on the
you just-
national average, 12.4 cents, I think, per kW. Phenomenal difference in terms of the value of the bulb, the value of what you're paying $10 for, that's going to save you $162.
But a key to that is that I'm having to bank the fact that life expectancy is really there, and you're telling me that unlike those CFLs, that it is there with these LED bulbs.
Absolutely. Yeah, the LEDs are bar none the most reliable light source on the planet. There's nothing more reliable.
I mean, there's no doubt that if I don't ever have to change that bulb, then I'm going to be in great shape before I pass away. But the point is it needs to last that time for my investment to
That's
pan
right.
out.
And that's not to say that you may not have a bulb go out here and there. LEDs have over 99% reliability factor. No other light source.
I can live with one. I've got a 22-year-old kid I can make call and change out one. Or maybe Dave will come out and change out one.
Yeah.
The number one thing is what I'm looking at as a builder, my customer's gonna spend a big chunk of money on the lights at the beginning, but over the years, they're saving even more than what we're spending on it.
Yeah.
The lights, correct?
The key is it's an investment. You
Yes.
have to look at it as an investment.
Yep.
I think that's the key. Okay, Ashton, what about appliances? show me some money there. What am I looking at? I mean, I'm making a little bit more of an investment, obviously, to buy Energy Star.
Sure.
So what do I kind of get? What's my return on my investment on that, or how do I gauge that?
You can gauge it by looking back at these energy guides for the appliances that qualify. You can choose a non-Energy Star appliance, and you're going to be at $41, for example, here.
And this is on, what am I looking at here, though?
This is on a dishwasher.
The dishwasher, okay?
So you can spend over $41 or as little as $21, and that's going to gauge what a year is going to gauge what kind of investments you're going to make. You can save a lot of money by picking something in the mid-range or in the lower range, but these will help you determine what kind of appliances you should be getting.
And again, this is based at that 12.4 cents.
That's correct.
And it's over that life. So basically, kind of some of that you're looking at, we're in the middle of the road. We're about half
Absolutely.
the savings. But we can spend a little bit more money on the appliance and get all the way down to
$21.
$21.
Absolutely.
Which would be less than half.
Correct. You can also do things like not using your heated dry cycle to save energy. If you go into a house and you take your 16-year-old refrigerator, you could be using almost $300 more a year to run that refrigerator than if you were to choose something that was meeting the new Energy Star or energy guidelines for 2014.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have with those fridges is they normally end up out in the garage. So they really don't help us as a replacement. Well, guys, look, understanding everything that's here, again, I'm not making these selections, but if Dave will help me a little bit, maybe we can steer Miss Yvonne over to these appliances that really can save us some money long term. And then also, I think that I'm willing to make that investment to go all LED. And so if I can talk Yvonne into getting these Energy Star appliances, I think we got a game plan. What do y'all think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Very wise decision.
all right. Thank you so much for your time and appreciate it.
All right.